Hey, it's Jasper, and today we're talking about the brand new Atom Audio D3V desktop computer monitor system. And spoiler, these things are spectacular. I absolutely love the way they sound, and I'm just kind of blown away, to be honest. But I don't think they're necessarily for everyone. So in this video, we're going to talk about what I really like about them, some other considerations that you should think about before deciding to purchase them, as well as at the end, we're going to then compare them against some of my other favorite speakers to hopefully help you decide if these make sense for you or maybe something else does. If that sounds good, listen on. A few quick things though before we get started. First, yes, this is a new channel and I'm trying to get it off the ground. So watch the video, make sure you like what you see, but if you do, I would really appreciate a like, a comment, a sub, share it with a friend, anything like that really goes a long way. And second, yes, there are affiliate links in the description below. Anytime you make a purchase using one of those links, I'll get a small commission at no cost to you. That's ultimately how I'm hoping to make this channel work. We'll see how it goes. This is very new and I'm figuring it out. But hopefully you find this helpful. And with that, let's get into it. Let's talk about the specs of these. And first, the price. So as of recording, these cost $300 US. Prices do fluctuate, so I definitely encourage you to click the link, see what the latest price is. But yeah, as of today, it's 300 bucks. So what do you get for that? Well, you get a 4-channel amplifier that has a digital signal processor. The woofers have 80 watts and the tweeters have 40 watts respectively. You also get a ribbon tweeter. This is probably the most important thing about these speakers that kind of sets them apart from all the other speakers in the class. I'll talk more about why ribbon tweeters are so special and kind of what they allow these speakers to accomplish in a bit when I talk about the listening impressions. But just know this is a very special thing to have in a speaker that costs this little. In addition to the ribbon tweeter, you also have a 3.5-inch driver that has 2 3.5-inch passive radiators on either side as well. I'll talk more about what I think of the bass response on these, but overall, I'm a fan, and this allows these speakers to be really compact while also still having pretty good bass response. So I love to see that as well. And then let's talk about the inputs. These have a balanced TRS 1/4-inch input as well as a USB-C input. And a fun fact about that USB-C, you can just plug it straight into your iPhone and then these will work as a monitor for your phone. I think it also works on Android as well. I haven't been able to test that. But gone are the days of passing the aux cable. Now it's past the USB-C cable. Doesn't quite have the same ring to it, but whatever. Anyway, so beyond that, there is no Bluetooth in these, sadly. I don't think that most people really care because these are really meant to be legitimate studio monitors and not so much for casual use, but just wanted to bring that up. And then the other thing that I really do like about them is it has an equalizer settings on the back. So it's these 3 switches that allow you to modify the frequency response of the speakers to match the environment that the speakers are in. Often desks and walls and things like that can cause weird reflections to basically cause the speaker to no longer be neutral. So these switches allow you to compensate for that to help the speaker be brought back to what a studio monitor should sound like in your specific setting. A few other manufacturers do this as well, like iLoud, but I love to see it here. And I'm not going to get into all the details of how it works, but they cover it pretty extensively in the manual. So again, a nice feature from a legitimate studio monitor. What else do we want to talk about? Well, let's talk about what's in the box. So they give you a USB-C cable plus a USB-A adapter, which is just a nice little touch. They also include the little stands. A lot of other manufacturers make you buy these separately. Not here. They include them, and then if you don't want to use them, there's also a microphone mount on the bottom, which now opens up a whole world of mounting options for these. So overall, really happy to see that they've included that in the box. And then they also include the standard 4-pin cable to have the left speaker connect to the right speaker. I don't love that cable style because it's kind of hard to make adjustments. If you want to have a longer or shorter one, it's a bit hard to come across, but whatever. I'm not going to pick that fight with these right now. A lot of people use this at this point, so fine. And that's it. We've covered the specs. I think the most important thing that probably everyone wants me to get to is how do they sound? So I'll stop yapping and let's get to that. I'll just cut right to the chase and say, these sound phenomenal. And I don't want to be that guy who's on YouTube who says every single new speaker sounds the best and everyone's better than the last. That's not me. But these really do sound absolutely amazing. And I think it's for 2 reasons. We talked about that ribbon tweeter, and I'm just going to quickly talk about why ribbon tweeters are so amazing. And the main thing is it's all about weight. Yes, weight and moving mass of the actual membrane of the ribbon. So traditional speakers have a dome that vibrates. That dome probably weighs about 50 times more than a traditional ribbon would. And that moving mass causes problems because now when you want to initiate a high note, you got to start moving a lot more mass than a ribbon tweeter, which can move or spin up a lot faster. Same thing when you want the note to end. A ribbon tweeter just stops. There's no mass or there's very little mass, so it just cuts off immediately. A traditional dome tweeter has a lot more mass in it, so it kind of trails off. What does that manifest in? Well, like precision and clarity. And now also there's no mass, so you don't really get resonance as well or distortion. So these tweeters are just really, really, really accurate and precise, which then means when I'm listening to music, I'm hearing like clarity and distinct layers of different instruments at a level that I've never really experienced before at speakers in this category. I do kind of think that Atom Audio have like defined this product category with these speakers now. For $300 to have a ribbon tweeter is amazing, and they're going to make a lot of other manufacturers up their game just because that is such an amazing piece of tech to include at a speaker at this price point. So that's on the high notes. It sounds excellent, and you'll be happy to hear across the rest of the spectrum, I'm also just really impressed. They've actually released the frequency response charts and a lot more on their website, which I'll link to below. But you can see these are very neutral speakers. They do sound excellent. The bass is present and sounds good. It's not overwhelming, which is what you would expect from a studio monitor. The passive radiators definitely do help. Just a quick note on that. Traditional speakers are usually ported, so they have bass reflex technology where when the driver moves back and forth, it causes air to move in and out of the speaker enclosure, and that will have a special like port and tube that's tuned to vibrate at a certain rate to help improve bass. These don't have that. These have a sealed enclosure, and instead, when the driver moves back and forth, it causes a pressure change inside of the cabinet. And that pressure change then causes these little radiators on the side to go in and out. And that also causes additional kind of air to move around the speakers, which then causes more bass notes to be formed. I'm doing a kind of bad job explaining that. I just want to get everyone on the same page here. These are different from traditional speakers that don't have passive radiators. And what this does is it means that you have a nice tight bass response out of a really small enclosure that also doesn't have the problems that other ported speakers have, namely chuffing. So when you have a ported enclosure and you turn the volume up, there's a lot of air moving in and out of that enclosure, and that can kind of cause weird noises as it goes in and out of the enclosure. This doesn't have air moving in and out of the enclosure like that, so you totally negate that problem. And the other thing is when you have a port and it's on the back of the speaker, often that can cause weird problems. Now you have air moving and hitting the wall and sound coming from the back of the speaker. There's all sorts of weird reflections. These don't have that air moving in and out of the back like that. Instead, they have these little radiators on the side, which just makes them a lot more forgiving on placement. So another pro for having these passive radiators. And yeah, to sum it up, I think these sound phenomenal. The highs are kind of next level relative to anything else in this price point, and then the bass is balanced. But I'm now going to talk about why these might not make sense for you depending on your use case. So let's get into that. So who shouldn't buy these? Well, honestly, there's a whole group of people who I think might end up with these, but just for kind of the wrong reasons. And it all kind of goes back to human psychology, where a lot of people want to buy what professionals use, right? Apple has a whole branding and marketing campaign about iPhones Pro. Yes, everyone wants to use what the pros use, but the use case is just very different. A studio monitor is meant to have very neutral sound so that you can hear audio perfectly and accurately and then make adjustments accordingly. It makes sense if you're editing or creating audio. However, if you're just casually listening to music or podcasts or YouTube videos or gaming, you might actually prefer a non-neutral sound response. You might like having a little bit more bass. You might like having a little bit more mids to make vocals more prominent. There's all sorts of personal preferences when it comes to listening casually to music, and that's very much between you and yourself. Like, that's not for anyone else to tell you what's right or wrong. And I say all this because these don't have a sub out. If you wanted to add more bass, you just really can't, or you can't do that very easily. So I just encourage you to do some deep thinking about why it is that you're buying a studio monitor. I'm sure a lot of you watching this are like, Jasper, shut up, I already know all this. But for those that don't, or maybe that haven't thought about this maybe in this way, just really think about your use case, and maybe you don't actually want a neutral sound. And if you don't want a neutral sound, then my other favorite speaker, which is kind of a blend between a studio monitor and like a casual computer speaker, is the Kanto ORA and the Kanto ORA4. These have sub-outs. They sound really good. The highs, yes, they're not as like beautiful and crisp as these ribbon tweeters, but they're just really good kind of all-around speakers that I'm also a really big fan of. Also, they're a lot smaller. Do with this what you will, but I just want to kind of create and make sure that you understand this distinction because not everyone needs a studio monitor. To close this out, I'm going to talk about how these compare to some other really popular small studio monitors. I literally did a video about this like a month ago, and I'm kind of kicking myself because these should have been in that roundup because they're my new favorite. They are definitely the new speaker to get if you're looking for a small compact studio monitor. Just hands down, the value, the performance, I really don't think can be beat. But let's talk about a few other options because I really am like a big fan of the iLouds. The micro monitors are really great little speakers. They are a lot more compact. If you're traveling, you want something you can throw in a bag, these are really excellent. They also have that similar EQ functionality. They do not have a balanced input. They do not have a USB-C input. They do have Bluetooth. So like they're just overall like a different kind of genre of speaker, similar space, but slightly different. So consider these if you're looking for something a bit smaller. They're widely popular and a lot of people really love these. They do have some port chuffing if you put the volume up though, just be warned. And then if you want to go farther down the studio monitor spectrum, the Micro Monitor Pro. I also did a video about these and I absolutely love these speakers. And we were talking about how there's a like EQ on the back of the Atom Audios to help adjust and compensate for the room that they're in. These take that to the next level because they include a microphone when you buy them in a pair so the speakers can listen to themselves. And then there's also a whole software package that you can download to tune the speaker and make sure that the response is perfectly neutral as calibrated using this microphone. This is some next level technology, super, super impressive. And I love this speaker a lot, but it is like $500 to $600. So it's a lot more than these Atom Audios. So again, kind of different class, depends what you're looking for. And then obviously we have the iLoud MTM. These have all that same technology as well, the Mark II. These are excellent. They're just a lot bigger and again, more expensive. So it depends kind of what are you trying to optimize for, budget or maybe for incredibly precise sound as calibrated with a microphone. If so, definitely check out the iLoud line. And then there's this guy, the Vanatoo Transparent Zero. This is a beloved speaker. A lot of people really, really like it. And it's made by like this artisan team of speaker enthusiasts. And I really have a lot of respect for what they're doing. I'll be candid though, it's hard for me to recommend the Transparent Zero over the Atom Audio. I personally just think the Atom Audio is a better buy given that this is like $300 and this I think retails for around $450 as of recording. Sometimes they go on sale, so don't anchor on that, do some research. And I encourage you to also do some research. If you are thinking about the Vanatoo, listen to what others have to say. This is just one man's opinion, but I think it's going to be hard to decide to get them over the Atom Audio considering the price differential. And of course, we talked about the Auras. I'm a big fan. They're not pure studio monitors. So do some self-reflection. What are you actually looking for? All right, that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked what I did here, please like, comment, subscribe, share it with a friend. Anything like that goes a long way. And I'll see you on the next one.